Are you ready? Can crush us. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for. If you're really heavy into wrestling, hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom, bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Gotta shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody, power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need, and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah, Can Crushers. Yeah, Can Crushers. Let's go.
Hi everyone, this is Ringside Rain and you're listening to Can Crushers Podcast. And now, here is your host, Mark the Mark Martinez.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. As Ringside Rain said, I am your host, Mark the Mark Martinez. What do you want to talk about? Well, I'll tell you who I want to talk about, and it's JAC! JAC is my guest this week. I hope he doesn't come back and punch me in the face, because I don't do it as good as him. He does an amazing JAC. He is JAC, and I'll tell you, I am so jealous of JAC, because early in his career, he is getting to do something that is so unbelievable. He has worked so hard. He's busted his ass, and in July, he is getting to go to Japan to wrestle. So that's going to probably be the lead story. And then I want to know the who, why, what, why, and all of that other stuff that we do here on the Spotlights. Maybe we can get a funny story out of him. I don't know if he seems like a funny guy. Sometimes, especially at WrestleCades, I think he wants to punch me in the face. And we are on opposite sides of the whole Benton, what the hell do you call it, convention center. I think he just wants to punch me. He seems like he'd be a guy that wanted to punch me. I would probably grind his gears. But I guess I'll have to get to that. Guys, let's do the due diligence of paying the bills first, and then we'll get into the interview. Guys, Collar and Elbow, hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool things that Al Snow and the Hooligans have down at Collar and Elbow. Go and buy it up. And then use our promo code CANCRUSHERS. Capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers. Save 10% on your entire order. Don't forget, we also have a WWE affiliate code. It is in the show notes, so go ahead and use that. We're very transparent. Sometimes you'll get a discount on something, sometimes you won't, but you will help support the show. Don't forget, we have our own merch as well over at CrowdMade. Type in Can Crushers, and you will be able to check out our hoodies and t-shirts and tank tops if you are a tank top wearer. More merch to come as well. Guys, you've heard me talk about Dubby all the time, how I live off of this. 2 scoops in the morning in my shaker, shake it up with that Beach and Peach, and it keeps me going from 4 o'clock in the morning till 11. It is unbelievable. No carbonation, no calories. It's just fantastic. It does so much for me, and I've kicked the carbonation, which is awesome. I've kicked the calories, essentially. Now, I still do that. Bread is my downfall, but that's a different story. Guys, if you're looking for a really cool energy thing, Dubby is the way to go. Don't forget, you're listening on your favorite podcast platform right now, Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, just audio, all of the things that you have out there. Don't forget to check out Podurama as well. When you head over there, they also have Seamless. So if you're listening on your phone, you want to throw it on your computer, you want to put it on your whatever, your tablet, wherever you stopped, that's where it's going to pick up, and it is seamless. They have discounts going on right now when you check out Podurama. Don't forget to join us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, all of the social medias. Join our conversation. That's essentially the first place that you will see the podcast posted, but then it ends up on Spotify and all those other ones as well pretty quick after that. All right, guys, we're going to take a hot second break. I'm going to call JAC, get him on the phone, and hopefully it's okay. It's okay. He's a He's a bit rowdy sometimes.
Hey guys, it is the Spark, Jada Stone, and you already know they call me the Spark, but you can be the Spark as well if you tune into Can Crusher podcast because they're amazing over there. So be the Spark with me and tune in.
Welcome back to Can Crushers, folks. You heard how excited, yet nervous, scared, and I don't know what else I could be, but I am excited to talk to my guest this week, JAC. JAC, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Can't complain.
Excellent. First and foremost, before we get into your story and to tell all that, congratulations. Congratulations. You have earned your way over to Japan, and I know for so many wrestlers, that is bigger than a bucket list, and you're knocking it off, man. That's exciting. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm getting to go down. I'm getting to do a little tour with Marvelous Pro, and I'm getting to train at the training camps there too. And it's really cool. Me and my wife Claire, we went down to LA at West Coast Pro. They had a tryout for Marvelous there, and I was the one that was picked to go do the tour. And it's been pretty emotional. I mean, I've been working hard and doing combat sports since I was 11 years old, so it's a dream come true. And Japan was my goal in wrestling, and now that I'm getting to do it already at such a young time in my career, it's very exciting.
Yeah, you are still a baby in professional wrestling, and that's not backhanded because you're still really young. To get it this early, does that kind of give you a little worries, a little bit of a chip that you know that something's going on?
It just makes me excited. I want to stay as humble as I possibly can about everything, because from other past experiences and other athletic stuff, you got to stay grounded and stay rooted so you can be good at something. And I know I got so much I still got to learn. But do I feel like I'm good at wrestling? Absolutely. I have to have confidence in myself. But is there a lot more I can learn? And I'm excited for this experience to learn. Yeah, 100%.
So one out of how many? Because one out of, I thought when, just following you on social media, this, that, or the other, I thought maybe like 2 or 3, but I didn't know one. So one out of how many were chosen? And it's you.
I was the only, there was a woman chosen, there was a male chosen, but I was the only male chosen. There was at least 65 of us, and there was a lot of really great independent wrestlers there. There was a lot of people from Booker T School, West Coast Pro, some DPW guys. So it was like a lot of who's who in independent wrestling, and it was pretty surreal when they picked me, because I was confident in myself and the performance I got to do. And then I was sitting back, you always second guess yourself. So I was like, I don't know, and then they picked me, and I got really emotional. So it was cool.
Listen, I watch the AMLs on the pay-per-view, and then every year I make my way down to Winston-Salem for WrestleCade, and we'll talk more about that. But you drew me this year, and like I said, I watch you, but you drew me this year big time at WrestleCade, and I'm like, oh man, JAC is legit on the map. And I'm not saying this mean, JAC, but I'm like, you stood out at this year's WrestleCade. You really did.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, so let's do a little bit of the rewind and get to know you and get up to this point, essentially. Who introduced you to this crazy sport? Mom, Dad, Aunt Sally, Uncle Joe? Like, how'd you find professional wrestling as a little guy?
So when I was growing up, my dad always watched it, but I never really paid much attention to it. It just wasn't something I was interested in. I liked basketball, and I liked like weird horror films and stuff like that when I was a kid. So, but when my dad got sick when I was around 11 or 12 with MS, and he wasn't happy during that time period, like at all. And so I saw him smiling at something, and I was in the living room. So I walked into his bedroom to see what he was watching, and it was The Rock returning. And ever since then, I was hooked, because to see my dad smile in a time period where he didn't really do that, I was like, man, this is really special, And then I fell in love with the characters, and I fell in love with just WWE and in general. And then later on, I fell in love with all of professional wrestling as a whole. But yeah, that one moment hooked me immediately.
So, since Dad smiled at The Rock, does he have a big part in your heart, or is he one of the people you don't like, or some of your favorites as well?
Oh, I love The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Rock was, when I was a kid, was my favorite by far. It was The Rock and Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. Those are the three.
You're a big guy, so all of them fit perfectly. Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
Growing up, you said you were kind of into basketball. Anything else? Because I can spin. I've put this in my head, by the way, JAC, that I can spin anything into professional wrestling to get you ready. Because you knew once you saw The Rock, you knew your path from there. You just didn't know your path. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. So I did amateur wrestling after basketball. I started amateur wrestling in 8th grade, and then I let it be like my main sport after that. And it really gave me an opportunity to learn what real work ethic is, because there ain't nothing in this world. And I say this to this day, and I've done some pretty tough stuff, but there's nothing that comes close to amateur wrestling. I would go every day to this gym after school at Combat Athletics and work out there between 4 to 5 hours as a kid. And then we go do national tournaments throughout the week. I actually was an All-American in my high school my senior year. So, I just let wrestling consume my life, whether I was watching professional wrestling on the TV or I was in the gym training amateur wrestling. But, yeah, wrestling became a huge thing around 8th grade.
So when was that aha moment that really kicked you in the ass then to go into training? Because you liked it, you liked The Rock, you're doing amazing things in, amateur wrestling and everything. Did you go to an indie event? Did you just say, hey, I'm just going to try this? Like, when was that big moment that said, hey, AML, this, that, or the other, I'm on my way?
So it took me a while to I didn't even know that independents really were a thing around here. I didn't know that was a thing at all. I knew independents existed because I watched WWE and I knew a Ring of Honor. But I didn't know independents were a huge deal, and especially in the North Carolina scene. And I was dating this girl at this time, and I was still fighting MMA. And her sister's boyfriend was a wrestler named Mason Matthews, and he trained at AML. And he told me, he said, dude, if you want to ever give it a try, he goes, I think you'd be really good at it. And I said, yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do, but I was still hesitant about it because I was doing MMA at the time. And this was at that time, I did a weight cut to make weight for a fight, and then my opponent backed out. And then I had some other stuff that happened during that time period too, and I wound up getting pancreatitis. I was in the hospital for a couple of days. And I called my MMA coach, who was also my amateur wrestling coach in high school, and I said, I'm not doing this no more. I want to give this professional wrestling thing a try. So I gained 40 pounds in 3 months, thinking I need to get really big. And I went to the AML school, where I walked in for the first day. I just sat down and I watched it, the first training session, and I knew immediately. I was like, oh, this is where I was supposed to be my whole life. This is it. And I have not looked back since.
Yeah, and the legends that have come through AML and the trainers of AML, I know this. Can you tell a little bit about AML for people that don't?
Yeah, so George South used to be the head coach at AML, and then it became Josh Gary, and now it currently is the Beer City Bruiser. Now, I've been training with Beer City now for about a year and a half. And, Beer City was trained by Harley Race.
Right.
And we have training every Tuesday and Thursday. At one point, we were doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the knowledge I've got from him just in the past year and a half alone, just for timing and the little things that no one else thinks of that he gets. I think he is genuinely, and I've been around a lot of special people in this short amount of time in wrestling already. He gets timing better than anyone I've ever met in my life. He is generally the smartest person. And I've sat in a room where it's him and Arn Anderson talking, and just to sit there and listen to both of them have a conversation just about how to, do a match and how everything works as a whole is crazy that I get to sit in a room like that and to hear them bounce at each other's ideas. Because no one gives Beer City the credit, but
and that's a shame.
Is so phenomenal.
That's a shame.
It is a shame because even before he was in Ring of Honor, he was Dinty Moore, and Dinty Moore was a great independent wrestler.
Right.
Now, after Ring of Honor, he was a mainstream wrestler, and he's just so good. He's phenomenal.
The lineage that you just said in those like 2 or 3 sentences between Arn Anderson, Harley Race, Bruiser, George South, wow, and that's all in your back pocket. So the world's yours, JAC. The world is yours, and I mean that with open arms and open heart, because that's the best of the best. It really is.
And I get to have a close relationship because of AML with like Colby Carino, and with Colby we get to talk to Steve sometimes too, and that's another great mind in the business. So we have all these connections with AML to all these people that are done this, like CW Anderson.
Yeah.
CW Anderson's been to Japan now at least 60 plus times. So I'm getting to now, learn stuff from CW. I'm asking a lot of questions. And where else in the Southeast am I ever going to get to learn anything? Where else in the United States am I going to get to learn stuff like that?
I'm glad you corrected yourself. I'm glad you corrected yourself and said the United States, because you are not going to anywhere else. This is going to sound like a paid promotional thing for AML, and that it should come around November, but we'll pause on that. It might come back around. But AML it shouldn't even be considered an independent for what it does. It should be above some of the others that are pro wrestling or whatever you want to call it. They do that damn good. In your part of it.
I think we're by far the best in the Southeast, and I think we rack up with all the promotions in the United States right now. I generally do. I think for the production quality we have, the level of high athletes that we have, from the age of George South to then you go all the way down to like a Diego Hill, who is an uppercutter who does some phenomenal stuff. I don't think like you can question that anymore. I think we are improving every single show, and we are the best, and we're trying to do that. Like, I have that attitude, and the locker room is just, we're a brotherhood, and we're trying to come together to put on the best show that we possibly can.
And you guys do, month in, month out, everything that you do. If you have not subscribed to AML, go and find it, watch it. You will not be disappointed. But back to you. We've given Tracy and everybody enough goats for right now. But
yep.
Let's talk about your training. So you sat there and you watched the first one and cool and everything. And this is where I'll spin it. So you knew what wrestling was about from amateur, and you knew the cardio from basketball and all of this. But what was the hardest thing in pro wrestling for you to not comprehend, because that's a rougher word, but catch on to, essentially?
I had to, the hardest thing is always trying to differentiate amateur wrestling from pro wrestling. And then also like rope running. It took me forever to be able to run the ropes right. And I still think I look weird doing it, but people tell me I look fine now, but and then timing, learning to slow down and take in the moment. Like, so many people want to rush through everything instead of taking that moment to like even just give a look to a kid in the crowd, that kind of stuff. Took me a while to really get. And the more like, and that's what I hate to go back to AML, but like opportunity to get to wrestle AML in front of large crowds that I get to wrestle there. That's an opportunity to learn to be bigger. And I didn't know how to be bigger until I got to do stuff like that, because you have to wrestle big to wrestle in front of 1,000, and then at WrestleCade 10,000 people, because that person in that very back row is not going to see you unless you're larger than life. And to get to do those opportunities there is really what's helped me get better. And I didn't get that stuff at the beginning. I've always thought my promos were decent. Now that I go back and watch my old promos, I hate them. But I like my current stuff. But I'm sure in like 2-3 years, I'll hate those too.
Well, that's old anything, because I love how you transitioned this easy for me. Do you go back and watch your first match? And I mean solo match, because, listen, we all know that everybody starts in a battle royal, or everybody this does that. Usually that's the way it is. Do you go back and watch those and say, man, if I would have did this, I would have been where I am now compared to then?
All the time, I try my best not to watch my old stuff, or I'll just be mad. Like, man, why'd you do that? That made no sense. Like, come on.
But you do, though, because it's critiquing yourself, and nobody else is harder on anybody else but yourself, right?
Oh, 100%.
Nice. All right, so this is one of my favorite questions, and I pause you before you answer it. Who is JAC? And I'm going to give you 3 wrestlers. When I see you at WrestleCade or I see you on pay-per-views or anything like this is instantly who I think. Kind of know a little bit. One's going to be a gimme because of who you were trained by and everything like that. So I'll just leave that. Number 1, when I see you, Bruiser Brody. Boom, right off the bat. You're crazier than... Listen, we're explicit, so I'll throw it out there first. You're crazier than batshit most of the time. You're a lunatic. That instantly went to Bruiser Brody with me. 2, kind of the same line. You're a bigger guy. You're tatted up. Brody King. You move well. You just are a roughhouse. And number 3, clearly because he trained you and you can see some of his mannerisms in you, is Beer City.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, with all that.
All of them? Really? I hit 100% again. I haven't been hitting 100%
I would agree with
recently.
that. I would say a little bit because I steal a lot from Terry Gordy too. I love Terry Gordy. A lot from Terry Gordy, especially Terry Gordy stuff in Japan. Who else? I love Bam Bam, but I get to be more of the good guy. You know, I get to do some Bam Bam stuff, but I try to be more Brody as the bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, who else? Gosh, but really, JC's just the batshit crazy heel that's not afraid to kick anybody's ass. You know.
Yeah.
We need heels like that. There's too many heels and bad guys in wrestling that just want to sit around and let everybody be afraid of everything. Would I want to be that? I'm 6'3", 285 pounds. Why am I afraid of a little 185-pound wrestler?
Right.
Like the moment I hate when the bad guy in the match goes and gets out of the ring. Like, why are you getting out of the ring? You know, like stay in the ring and pose your ground. I ain't afraid of you. You know, like that attitude. Like as a fan, that's more compelling to me, knowing that, my good guy has got to face this mountain because this mountain ain't afraid of my good guy, and the good guy ain't afraid of my bad guy. Because when someone's scared of something, I don't want to see that fight. That fight's boring.
It is.
But a fight where 2 guys are slugging it out, that's the fight I want to see. That's the fight I'm going to pay pay-per-view money for.
Big meaty men. We love big meaty men going at it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's me.
All right, so let's pause on wrestling a second and do a little bit, kind of behind the scenes of JAC. What are some nerd things that you like to do? You have no wrestling going on, and you and the wife are going to just kind of hang out. What are you guys going to do? Read a book? Play video games?
I love movies, like in general. I'm a big movie fanatic, and if I can sit in a theater and go to the theaters and sit down and watch a movie, I like this. I think Sunday I finally got a Sunday off, first one I've had in a while. We're gonna go watch Godzilla and Kong. I'm very excited about that, and then I want to see that new Dune Part 2. I haven't got to see it yet, but yeah, I like to sit down and just watch a story unfold, and I like when a director can hook me and make me sit there and be really entertained by a story. I like a character too that I can get behind in a movie that I'm like, oh yeah, he's cool, or oh yeah, she's cool. And then maybe they go through some heartbreak or stuff, but they didn't have to overcome it. I love movies like that. Also, me and Claire, we collect Funko Pops, but the WWE ones, it's still part of wrestling, but it consumes our life. But we do that, so we try to go to all these little comic book stores and stuff, and try to find ones that we don't have, which we have. Gosh, 150 of them in the apartment. So, and they're just wrestling ones, which is getting now a little ridiculous because I'm having to buy shelves and stuff now to put it on the wall to hang it up. We have a 1-bedroom apartment, so having to find the space now for all these Funko Pops is a little wild. And then I like going bowling too. I like bowling with my friends. Yeah, I do. I enjoy bowling. I got a buddy of mine that I work with, and I enjoy doing that. I try, and I used to love hanging out with all my wrestling friends, but I wrestle so much now. I just want to do that then. I got a close group of friends that are outside of the wrestling world that I like hanging around then, and my family. I'd rather do that when I'm not wrestling. I see my wrestling people enough. I like being around those people.
That so much to unpack there. My mind just blew up. So go back to the movies. You love storylines, this, that, and the other. What's your all-time favorite movie then?
Avengers: Infinity War.
Okay.
And it used to be Batman: The Dark Knight. I'm a big like comic book movie guy, but yeah, Infinity War. I remember leaving the theater in shock, which is something I've never experienced because I like going to Marvel movies on opening night. And I left with my brother. We just left shocked. I was like, what just happened? Because I'd never seen a villain win really in a superhero film like that. Like undeniably he won. He beat the Avengers. Thanos did. And I was like,
kicked his ass.
This is cool. Yeah. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. That's all I kept thinking. Yeah, I was just stunned. So, yeah, by far it's that movie.
Okay. To the Funko Pops, because, listen, I'm all in on collecting everything wrestling. I really am. But I had LJNs. I went to the next ones. And then you have to stop at some point. And I think that's where I drew the line. And my wife is amazing. She'll buy me one. And I'm like, Kelly, you can't because I have an addiction. And I don't have the early onset ones of AJ Lee or CM Punk. I can't pull the trigger on those now because they're so damn expensive. Do you have those ones?
I have the pink CM Punk Macho Man one, which is like the second rarest one you can find for like, and I mean, it's an accident that I have it. So Claire had that when she was 12. She bought it out. Her brother bought it for her at Hot Topic. But that was just all an accident, So I love she goes, I think I got some Funkos at my mom's place, and I said, oh cool. I said, can you get them? She said, yeah. And then she brought that thing in. I said, there's no freaking way you have this. I was so surprised. Like I was shocked. I was like, there's no way. That's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I love you because of the CM Punk Funko Pop.
Yeah, it's just like that's beautiful.
But
I have that one, and then I got the original John Cena, the original Stone Cold, the original Rock. Like I'm trying to collect that first 10.
Yeah,
that came out. Like that's a big goal of mine. I think I have 6 or 7 of the first 10.
Wow,
so,
that's crazy. But there's so many. There's so many. Like for me to. She has it's Bryan Danielson, but it's Daniel Bryan because it was a WWE one. So she's got that because that, and then somebody got me a Roman Reigns one, and I'm like, you guys have to stop because I will go down a rabbit hole because everything I said. All right, so that's your Funkos. What's your handicap in bowling? I suck at bowling. I enjoy it, but I really suck at bowling. I want to know how good you are.
I'm okay. I wouldn't say I'm great. I'm better than my friends.
Wow. That's a brag.
I was but I was in a relationship one time with and we would go every Sunday together and we'd bowl. And I don't know. I liked it since then. So whenever we broke up, thank God. And now that I still bowl every once in a while. I just enjoy it. And Clara enjoys it. My friends enjoy it, because there's a bar too that's right near the bowling. That's like right beside. So I go get a drink, bowl. Go get a drink, bowl.
Nice.
So, I think I just like getting a buzz. I don't know how much.
That's clearly the best part of bowling.
Yeah, it's getting the buzz and getting dumber and dumber, getting worse and worse.
It's good. That's awesome. And I do like how you said that you need a little bit of separation. You are on the road a lot with the wrestling family, and you're in and around them and training and everything. It's great for mental health. We promote mental health a lot on here. So it's great to have that split where, hey, I have wrestling friends, and then I have friends. Not that they're any different, but there needs to be separation all the time.
Yeah, I think so because my first year, dude, I was so like mad at like my wrestling friends because I had like an idea that they needed to work as hard as I did, and in reality, like I need to worry about me. If I'm gonna make it, it's gonna be me that makes it. I can't worry about everybody else around me. And the moment I did that, and the moment I started separating my personal life and my social life, it made I'm a lot happier in person, if that makes sense. A lot happier.
Yep, it does. It really does make sense. All right, let's get into the random questions. If you thought that was bad, let's get into the random questions. And we'll do the one from a past guest. And here it is.
Hi, it's Leah Sparks, and I have a question for you. My question is, if you can summarize yourself in 3 words, which words would they be?
So hardworking, driven, and trustworthy.
I could see those. Listen, we don't know each other personally yet, but we will in time. But I see all of those in you. So yeah, those are good ones.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I don't lie. I think that's the trustworthy thing. Like I used to lie all the time, and I realized that gets you nowhere. So now trustworthy. Maybe not like 4 years ago, but now yes.
Now you're boom. Yeah. All right. If you had to delete all but 3 apps on your phone, what would you keep?
Oh my gosh!
Told you they get stupid.
Let me get my phone out. Figure out. So I definitely would keep Instagram. I look at that way too much. So is this kind of like call and text too, or they?
Well, no, because that's your phone. Let's just. Okay. I should clarify this all the time because you're like the third person that said that. Yeah. So if it's the call or text, that's your phone to me. I'm speaking of like Instagram or Snapchat or any of those ones that you put on there.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, Instagram. And then I got a game called Block Blast. It's like kind of like Tetris, but like when I'm really bored, I play it, and I play it way too often. So yeah, I keep that one too.
Okay, so those aren't bad. I thought since you kept Instagram, and I don't know what apps you have on your phone, I'm just going to be a weirdo all of a sudden. I thought you would. Everybody usually says a YouTube because you could watch movies there and or get music, so that's an easy one in one game, but. You're keeping 2 social medias because you're that damn hip. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
What will people look back at? By the way, you had the worst spin of questions I've had in a while, by the way. These are all, like, not funny. What will people look back at us in 50 years and be shocked and appalled on?
Probably our gas prices, I hope.
Touche.
Yeah. I hope that's the thing. I hope that's the only thing. I hope we're doing pretty good. There's things I would say, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, gas prices was a great one. No, I know. Listen, though, when I come down from Pennsylvania to Winston-Salem every November, I want to bring a tanker. You guys' gas prices are so much cheaper down there than they are up here, so be thankful on that.
I used to wrestle in Pennsylvania every other month. Trust me. I know. I'd fill that thing up when I was in Pennsylvania to go back down so happy. Like, oh, it's so nice.
What's one bad habit you're trying to get rid of?
Bad habit I'm trying to get rid of. Definitely judging people, because I don't like that. I can sometimes, like in my head. I try not to say it out loud, but definitely like in my head, because like everybody's their own person. There's no reason I should judge them for what they're doing or who they are.
You're on the same path as I am. 2024, I'm trying to clean my head up that way too. I really am. It's the Mark's BU movement and worry about myself more so than what you're doing or what the next door neighbor or anything is doing, because I know I need work. Yeah. Don't judge. It's perfect. I love it. All right, back to wrestling related stuff now. You have a litany of people in your corner. We've named them all. Who gave you the best advice, though, behind the curtain?
Gosh, who did? I actually got to think about that. I don't know. I've got a lot, but I never really. I don't know. I don't think about it. I have a bad memory too. I'd probably Bruiser said something, but he's also said some dumb stuff to me too. So. Like never about wrestling, but it's just something stupid. It is Bruiser actually, and I know what it is. Don't ever forget to be you.
We kind of just said that.
Yep, he said you're here because They want you here for you. Don't ever be anything but you. Yeah.
That's great advice. By the way, good job for patting him on the back and then throwing him right under the bus. Too.
Yeah, I got to do that.
By the way.
Yeah, I got to.
This is kind of the hardest hitting question that I ask because I really like, and you guys usually open up about it, and I love that. What would you change about professional wrestling? Because there's stigmas around it, and there's this around it, and there's da-da-da-da-da, and we don't need to list them, but you understand what I'm talking about. What would you change about it, though?
Right now, what I would change is I would change that everybody could just be a wrestler. I wish we could go back to the 80s and the 70s, because I think there's way too many people that are wrestlers that shouldn't be wrestlers. It's okay to be a fan. You know, I think that's lost a little bit.
It is. It is a wrestling podcast that likes to get to know wrestlers and everything like this. If we could get back to kayfabe, honestly, I'd shut this down. I honestly would. Because that is the best time. When I was growing up, shock and awe every week. You don't get that now.
No. And it stinks because, like, I can't come on here and then not give it a little bit up because, like, The Rock and Roman Reigns are on TV going over all their backstage stuff. You know, and it's just like, you just sit there and sigh. It's like, well, you know, I'm going to be a phony if I don't, you know, now. Because the moment I saw Dax Harwood do it, I was like, okay, you know, I can do it too. You know,
right? Yeah,
that was the eye-opening thing. Yeah,
I agree, and that's why
I always feel guilty. You know, I still feel guilty opening up about anything about wrestling. I get in the back of my head, I'm like, gosh, Bruiser Brody would be shaking his head at me. You know,
I know, and I always look at Tony Schiavone is who I love. You know, Tony now does it in AEW with Aubrey and everything to do this and that. He didn't with Crockett in NWA. He was straight by the line and everything. And I'm like, all right, now that Tony can do it, I guess I can too, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're in a society, though, where everything's known. You know, there's nothing that a wrestling fan doesn't know.
Right.
There are times that I still go to shows, especially in the South, that people think it's real, but it's so rare. You know, it's so rare. And what sucks is it is real. It hurts. You know, I hurt all the time. So it's like that irritates the crap out of me. Because it's like, I know so many people that have been like long-term hurt, like Beer City, you know, with his hip, you know.
Yep.
And then other friends of mine that have had people that died doing it, you know. And it's just like, people don't understand. And never will.
That the F word, not the one that we as truckers use all the time, but the word that no professional wrestler or fan likes to use, it's so false because whatever you want to say about professional wrestling, there's injuries, there's deaths. Even in small promotions that's in and around up here, one landing the wrong way of this or that, done. It's not, and I'll say it, it's not fake, people. It's not. So get that out of your head, without a doubt. So,
yep.
Okay. You're a big storyline guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So what's your all-time favorite storyline ever?
I loved when Brock broke the streak. People hate it. I loved it. And here's why. Look at what happened after the fact. Like, look at everybody that was made from Brock beating the streak. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. Brock doesn't beat the streak. It's not as impressive. Brock beats the streak, then goes on to beat John Cena the way he beat John Cena. And then he sets up to make Roman Reigns a star, Seth Rollins a star, you know. And then probably the other one besides that would be, I really love the current one they just did. Roman and Cody and The Rock and Seth was phenomenal. I mean, I thought I never could, like, nothing would be better than Brock beating the streak for me, because that was I remember sitting up and watching my dad just be shocked and mad. And I was like, oh, that's the greatest thing ever. So I thought to myself. But then seeing what happened this past, like, what it was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, week and a half, but yeah.
Yeah. But seeing everything that transpired too to finish that bucket off and that part of that story, I was like, man, it was all worth it. It's been the good Roman Reigns champion for 4 years. You know, that's unheard of anymore.
Yeah.
And to be able to do all the things that he did in his story with it, because I believe his entire title run was a story. Now he's going to continue to do his story. This is long-term storytelling. Even going back to the Shield stuff with Seth, they did in that match. I was like, man, they're hitting on a whole new levels right now that they've never hit on. Yeah, that was cool. Really cool.
By far one of my favorites as well. The whole thing. And I thought on our weekly show, we've talked about this a little bit. We could have maybe got a couple more months or even a year out of this because there's more meat on that potatoes, even if on the potatoes, you know what I mean? There's still more meat on the bones if Cody would have lost. There could have been wrapping around it SummerSlam or even next year. But I think, and again, we're going to go down this hill of knowing too much. Maybe Roman's sickness is flaring back up, and it's okay, folks, that we'll see him down the line, right?
Yeah. I don't know necessarily if it's that. I think he is in recovery. I think I'm very excited about what they're about to do. The whole new bloodline stuff. Yeah. I said, man, when I saw Tama Tonga show up at SmackDown, I said, oh, they're about to cook. You know, I was worried after watching Raw. Like I thought they did some good stuff on that opening Raw, but I said, man, I hope they don't, because that Rock and Cody segment, I was like, man, this is not what it was. You know, it was awkward, and I was like, I don't know about that, you know, for a TV viewer. And then, but I will say, I tuned in the Raw. I watch the clips always from Raw and SmackDown, but I never actually watched the whole thing all the way through. That's the first time I've watched a Raw in 3 or 4 years. You know, okay. I tuned in. I was like, I have to watch. That's what I said. I said I gotta watch all of it. And I was watching as a fan. You know, that this past Raw, and I was like, okay, well, I don't know about that, but then SmackDown. Oh my gosh, the moment Tama Tonga showed up, I said, oh, they're ready for the next thing. Like, this is the next big thing.
I'm so excited. I'm going to SmackDown. It's in Pittsburgh this Friday, so I can't wait to see what continues from that. But let me ask you, because there's so much going on with what was handed, what do you, as a fan, what do you think Rock handed Cody?
Everybody was saying it was the watch. Mm-hmm. That I don't think it was the watch, because then after the press conference, the day after Mania, had the watch.
Right.
I as a fan, I really don't know. I was so confused. I was like, I don't know why he could handle that and make Cody that upset. You know, I do think it's probably something from Dusty's, because I think they're going to correlate that somehow. But it's not the watch. I don't know what it would be, though, honestly.
We've come up with it. It's Dusty's Hall of Fame ring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
I don't know how The Rock got it, essentially. We know Cody had it because before Dusty passed, Cody had it. Did Cody have to pawn it to help start AEW or some crazy wrestling story or whatever that we'll all hook, line, and sinker and buy it? But yeah, we came back around that it's Cody, it's Dusty's Hall of Fame ring is where we are. We're crazy. We don't know. Or
I like that.
Or it's a lighter because Cody's bus caught on fire.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be even better.
I think I'd like that better than the ring. Yeah.
Crazy.
That way he's attacking his family then. Yeah. You know, and now The Rock's just insane. Yeah, that'd be cool. I like that one.
So you've answered one of my questions. How much wrestling do you watch? Do you trickle over AEW as well? Do you watch some of that? Clips or whatever you want to watch? Yeah.
I watch it on YouTube. I try to watch their matches when I see they did Minoru Suzuki versus Edge, I had to watch that.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam Copeland, but I had to watch that. And then I think Kaneshite, I can't ever pronounce his name.
Right. We say Okada?
No, not Okada. Kaneshite Tanahashi.
Oh, yeah.
I think he is one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. He is so good. His match with Ospreay was insane from the the Greensboro show they did. It was just, yeah, he's. I don't know why they don't use him more. Honestly,
I
really don't.
That's
AEW scares me, Joe, just at the pace they go. Because I heard who's the guy from OVW? Anyway, he's a respected veteran in the business. Like he said on a podcast the other week that he thinks someone, if they keep going at the pace, Al Snow.
Oh,
He said someone's going to die, and I was like,
he's one of our sponsors, and I couldn't think of who you were talking about.
Yeah, but I was sitting there thinking, I was like, yeah, you know, I'm worried about it too. Like the stuff Darby Allin does is scary.
Oh, he's suicidal. Let's just put it out there. He really is. It's crazy.
I don't want to talk bad about any wrestler, but it's generally scary to watch, especially from my aspect of it. But yeah, I worry about them a little bit with that kind of stuff. But yeah, I hope they do well. I really do. Like, because I want all wrestling to succeed.
Right.
I hope they stay out of something like, you know, the CM Punk stuff. I think they need to just be done with that. I think they need to worry about themselves more than WWE and just keep their own program. That's what WWE's doing. Like, do what they're doing. Worry about you.
You should just be a co-host on a weekly because you're saying exactly the same thing. If they'd take care of themselves, they would be all right. They lost me for a little bit because of all of this stuff that they're doing right now. Like, I'm not sure if I'm going to get the pay-per-view Sunday because of this.
Yeah. I didn't normally watch the pay-per-views. It's like WWE. I always watch WWE's pay-per-views. I watch AEW's pay-per-views. I'm probably not getting this one.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a match on there I want to watch.
Ospreay and Danielson is the only thing that sells me right now.
Yep. Yeah. And even that, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it, but then I can watch that one on like TikTok live when someone streams it illegally. You know?
Not that we condone that here in Can Crushers, but
no, we do not. But that's what I'll be watching.
Right. We've talked a lot of good about you, JAC. What's one of your most embarrassing moments, though?
Oh my gosh.
There's a story. I don't know it, but I know there's a story.
There's a recent one, and gosh, I must say it because it's funny. So we were dumb with the whole Marvelous thing. Okay, and this is the only dumb thing we did. Like, we were definitely it was a success. So we went with our friends Jada Stone and Grant Watts train at the New Japan dojo in California.
I love Jada Stone, by the way. I love her. She's been on the show before. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's great. She was one of Clara's bridesmaids at our wedding. We think the world of her. But anyway, we went to LA to ride with them to San Francisco. You know, we flew 5 hours, and then we drove 6 to San Francisco instead of just being, well, I kept saying smart and just flying into San Francisco. You know, but anyway, and I have been dieting to lose weight and to get in a better shape. And so I have been eating really healthy recently. And so I went to a gas station and I got chocolate pretzels because I said, I want one. It'll be fine. And it killed my stomach for some reason. I don't know what that chocolate pretzels did to me, but it was just stuff I hadn't had that type of sugar, I guess, in a while or something. And my stomach, I had gas the entire trip. Poor Jada was miserable. And she was just yelling at me. And I said, look, I'm sorry. She goes, it's my car. I said, I know, but I can't help it. I said, it's the pretzels. And so we get to the Marvelous thing. And there was, you know, when you have a fart and you're just concerned.
Yep.
You know, a little bit about it. So we get to the Marvelous at West Coast Pro, the little training center where the trial was held at. And I get out of the car. I was wearing gray joggers. So there's this brown stain on the gray joggers. And Jada starts laughing. I'm like, what the hell are you laughing about? And she goes, you just brown stain your pants. I said, you're full of shit. There's no way there's no brown stain on my pants. And then Clara doesn't lie to me. She goes, no, Jesse, there is. I said, please tell me we packed more clothes. And she said, yes, we did. And I ran into the little food mart they had beside it and changed really quick. But yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. I'm glad I didn't walk. I'm glad Jada caught it before I walked in there and made a fool of myself, or we might be having a different story today.
First impression, you're not going to Japan.
Yeah, like he can't even handle his food. You know?
I'm gonna stir the pot a little bit. Jada's yelling at you the whole time. It's trickling through. This is going down a horrible path right now, by the way. It's leaking through your pants. She does know that it's in her seats now, right?
No, we have not had that conversation. She said, I drove a good bit of that night, and she sat in that seat, and I was just sitting there kind of looking at her every once in a while, like, yeah, she's going to know, you know. Well, no, we did not talk about that.
All right. Listen.
I hope she hears this podcast.
Oh, she's getting tagged in this podcast, so don't worry. I will text her as soon as I'm done with this and saying, make sure you listen to the podcast. So, at the beginning, we talked AML, this, that, and the other thing. What does WrestleCade, that whole weekend in Winston-Salem, mean to you? Because as a fan, there's nothing other. I've never been to a WrestleMania, and I don't know if I want to be, honestly. I don't. Because what WrestleCade does, a bigger promotion can't do what WrestleCade does. What's it mean to you as a worker and, listen, as a fan, too?
I see it, for me as a worker, I see it as the whole year is built up. We work hard for that one moment all year. You know, and I try to always have a better year than the year I had before so I could be in a better position on the card than I was the year before. Like my first WrestleCade, I was in the Rumble match they have on Sunday at the AML show.
Yep.
My second WrestleCade, I was on the Saturday Battle Royal, and then I was in the Rumble again on Sunday. And then the one this past year, I had a legit match on both days. You know, and that was the goal. And now this next year is to have an even higher quality better, you know, keep making them up, like better matches each time. And so WrestleCade to me is our WrestleMania, especially in the independents and especially for AML. That's our moment to go out there and show everybody in the world, because there's people applying from the world, that hey, we are we're it. We're the promotion. Come watch us. We're going to show you how great we are. You know, and to be there with and it's always great to be around friends I haven't seen in a while, because I always see a bunch of people. Everybody's there. I'm hanging around people that I generally love and love to talk to and get to go hang out at the bars after the show with.
Right.
You know, and it's pretty surreal to be, you know, sitting there drinking a Jack and Coke right next to Abdullah the Butcher. You know, like that's like, where else in the world am I going to do that? So yeah, WrestleCade's amazing. The amount of legends that show up for WrestleCade is wild.
Well, that was
every year.
That was my next question. Do you get a little starstruck from some of the people? Like my big was Abdullah this year. Like I spent 20 in it. I don't want to bother everybody. Like I'll throw my card out and say, "Hey man, I really want to talk to you on the podcast, this, that, or the other," something like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't get away from Abdullah. Like I just, he was talking and I'm just drooling on him. He's just telling stories and I'm like, yep, you can tell me, you could be reading me the Bible, you can read a phone book. I'm just listening because there was something about Abdullah and I'm like, yeah man. And there's a line behind me. I'm like, shit, Mark, get out of the way. Let the other fans enjoy it too.
Yep. Yeah, he's so cool. I don't get struck by anybody anymore. Now I am wrestling Nick Mimoff next weekend for AML.
Yep.
It's going to be me and Zuka versus Nick Mimoff. I want to see how that happens because he was my dad's favorite wrestler when we were watching WWE. So like as the the guys that were on the roster, he was my dad's favorite.
Nice.
And so it's pretty surreal to be doing that. My dad's going to get to watch me wrestle, you know, his favorite wrestler during the time when I started watching wrestling, which is pretty cool. And but yeah, I don't know. Ever since I had a tryout with WWE back in 2021, and ever since that, I haven't, because I met Triple H, you know, and I met Samoa Joe then,
right.
And that experience and getting to talk with Regal and realizing, okay, after that experience, I said, okay, this is a job. And yes, this is fun, and the people consider it a hobby too. But to me, this is a job. This is what I do to make my extra money, to make money that helps put food for this nice apartment me and Claire have.
Yeah.
So while I'm the biggest mark, clearly by my Funkos and the amount of Japan and the amount of all Japan stuff that I watch, I'm still, when it comes to like me and the business and me doing it, I don't, they're just my peers to me.
That's such a great way of putting it, though. When you're at home by yourself, you can mark out because no matter what. Mm-hmm. Listen, wrestlers are marks, but mm-hmm. to keep it at home is cool. When it's business, it's business. Because as we said before, the lineage that you come from, essentially, that whole North Carolina thing is unbelievable, and that's all in your back pocket. So I love that you keep business. Cool.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, I get to text George South,
right?
Who was one of Ric Flair's favorite wrestlers on a weekly basis. He texts me and prays for me, and then we talk for a second. I made my NWA Power debut this past Tuesday, and I was texting him about it. And stuff like that is just cool and surreal. Because like when else do you get to talk to a 40 to 50 plus year veteran, like George, who's been in this business forever, who wrestled Ric Flair more than probably anybody has, like that's the coolest thing in the world to me. And the fact that he's my friend, like I consider George one of my closer friends in wrestling, because I can sit up and listen to George talk all day, and George, I know, loves me.
And George will talk all day.
Oh, yeah. You got to. Got to sell his gimmicks, buddy.
You're knocking off your goal, essentially, you said, in 2024 by going to Japan. But what else? What else do you have in your back pocket that you'd like to knock off your bucket list?
I want to walk down I want to wrestle at WrestleMania. I want to wrestle in the Tokyo Dome. I want to do Madison Square Garden. That those are my biggest ones. After, now that I'm going to do the Japan thing, that's the next goal, is to do those. And once I got those, I do want to be a world champion. Like that's the biggest goal. And I only consider very few promotions to have a legit world champion. Like I consider WWE, New Japan, Noah I would consider as well, and AEW probably too. But yeah, I want to be a world champion, a recognized world champion.
Nice. Any other places that you'd like to cross off your bucket list? England or, Canada's right around the corner, Mexico, anything like that you'd like to go to?
Oh, yeah, I want to do it all. I want to travel the world. Like, that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this, because I love traveling. I want to see everything that I can. You live once.
Right.
And I want to experience it all. Because it was like when I got the Japan thing, George texted me because he was so happy. He said, there's a whole world out there. He said, I'm so happy for you. Because so many people get stuck in this small little place, and there's so much in this world to see. And I want to see it all.
Yeah. On that note, where are you going to AML next weekend, right? Mm-hmm. Next weekend.
Yes.
Where else are you going to be here before you head out to Japan?
Oh, gosh. This coming up weekend, I'm at Imperial Pro Wrestling in Bristol, Tennessee. Next weekend, I'm at NWA JCP in Tennessee. I'm in AML. And then the weekend after that, I'm in APW Asylum in South Carolina. I got some Tennessee dates in May. I got a couple of North Carolina shows besides AML, like one or two in June. I got a couple of shows coming up. So, yeah, I'll be, for the most part, in the Southeast. I think I'm going to try to go out I'd like to go out to California and wrestle for West Coast before I go out too, So we'll see. I'm going to need to get into negotiations for that. But, yeah, that's kind of my idea until Japan.
You do an amazing job on your socials, by the way, telling people where to go. You do help put asses in seats. I'm sure you've heard that from Ricky before. You do all of this. So, guys, and he's going to tell you his socials and all of that here in a second, but follow him. If you want to know where JAC is going to be, he is by far. I don't know who told you this, or if you are just a social media genius. Every show I know where you are. And I don't know that about some other people. I'm not throwing anybody that I know under the bus, but it's true. Like, oh, shit, yeah, that's right. You're on my show. essentially. What the hell? I forgot that you're here because you haven't promoted it. You don't do that. You do your due diligence. So,
this is my deal with it, is because I would like to explain this if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. This is your show, man. Do whatever.
Yeah, because I believe that if a promotion brings me in and they make a poster of me and they put it on their page or whatever, it is my job as a wrestler and as someone that wants to promote myself to post it on my own social media, my platform, and try to help the show out. But not only that, but to give that promotion the respect enough to show that, hey, I respect your show, whether it's a bigger show, a smaller show, whatever, enough to put it on my platform and say, thank you for putting me on your show. I will help promote it. Because I want to, when I go there, I'd like to people to know a little bit, at least know me, you know?
Right.
Because, like, why wouldn't I promote what I'm doing, you know? Like, this is wrestling. It's all about promoting. It's self-promotion. That's a business asset. This is a business. It drives me nuts that people don't promote themselves. Like, it really does. I look around, I'm like, why not? You know, like, they just made a poster of you. You know, when you were a kid, how you dreamed about stuff like that? Because I have a whole wall of all my posters in my apartment. Because, like, that's the stuff that, like, I get to show my grandkids one day. Like, look at this.
Right.
So, yeah, and also I just think posters are cool. I get kind of marky over that kind of stuff.
I get super stoked about posters of myself. I get it.
Yeah. It sounds so egotistical, you know, but I do. I get so excited. I'm like, oh, it's so cool, you know. Like the one that I'm getting to be on Nick Mammoth, I'm like, I saw it and I said, oh, that's cool. That's so awesome. You know, I love that. You know, I got to share that immediately.
Oh, that just probably, you said your dad loved Nick. How's Dad take it when you say, hey, I'm getting into professional wrestling? This should have been like 25 minutes ago. I forgot to ask this, but.
Oh, man. They thought it was going to be a hobby. I knew I wanted to do it as a job immediately. It took, like, for a while, they were arguing with me because I was wanting to leave the job I was at for it. Because I wasn't having the time I needed for it. And then I got the WWE tryout. And they were making me get off later hours the moment they found out I was going to try out. They were going to let me have the week off, but they were making me purposely work like 12, 14-hour shifts. And I quit that job very quickly. And I didn't live with my parents at the time. Like, I moved out when I was 19, but they were mad at me, man. They said, you're throwing your whole life away. You've been at this job. You need this job. And I was like, trust me, I got this. You know, just trust me. I got this. And then I got a job with the company I'm working for now. But like literally like in 2 days, you know, I had a friend that worked there. But after the WWE trial, I think they saw the press release stuff from it because my face was on stuff and I was on like the news for Las Vegas and whatever, and WWE released stuff on their own social media. And the moment they saw that, after that, boom, he's got this, you know. And now my dad never shuts up about me to anybody.
Yeah, Dad.
You know? Yeah, like everywhere. Like even like I used to go to this gas station a lot when I lived in Knoxville, and like I went in there when I was going to a South Carolina show because I know people in there, and the lady goes, I didn't know you wrestled. Your dad comes in and talks about you all the time. And I was like, man, I'm thinking to myself, I wish he'd stop. Because I just don't want to talk about that all the time. You know?
I want to be incognito a little bit.
Yeah, I like to go in and, you know, get out. You know, and I got to sit here and have a conversation today about wrestling. Because I know that's a conversation starter. Right. Yeah. But, yeah, my dad, yeah, he's him and my mom and Clara are like the biggest marks for me in the best possible way.
That's awesome. The support probably means so much to you.
It does, because it's just like my mom's always supported everything I've done, whether it was amateur wrestling, this or whatever. But like him, like getting that full support for him means everything. It really does, because I don't know, I just want him to be proud, you know.
I get it. All right. Last question, then I'll let you do your socials and sell some merch and anything else you want to do. Dream match. Who, where, and what stipulation?
Hey, I got like 2.
That's
Can
all
I
right.
do 2?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can do 20. I don't care.
Hell yeah, that would be great. But no, Samoa Joe is one of them, and just a regular. Like I just need a regular match. I just want to wrestle Joe, and where it don't matter. I just want to wrestle him. It'd be cool to do it in a big arena. It'd be cool to do it. Honestly, I'd like to do that at the Greensboro Coliseum.
Okay.
Because that's where I watch WWE shows at, and just to wrestle in that Coliseum would be cool. To wrestle in the place that I grew up, like thinking it was the greatest thing ever.
Yep.
And then Gunther, because I think he's the best wrestler in the world right now. And me and him, I think he's phenomenal. I think we just would tear it down. I like to do that at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I'll put a caveat on the Gunther one. I think it needs to be like a 60-minute Iron Man. I know it's 2 big guys going 60 minutes, and that's unforeseen for 2 big guys to go 60 minutes, but that would be amazing.
That'd be awesome. I'd love that.
All right.
Yeah, that'd be great.
This is your time. Spill whatever you want to spill. Give your social, sell some merch, all of that. We'll tag you anyway, but go ahead.
Awesome. You can go follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Don't add me on Facebook. I'm not going to add you at JC is a bad man. And then you can also, I kind of have a YouTube channel. I'm going to start doing a podcast of my own eventually on it. It is Jesse's World. You can go follow that and subscribe to that. And then come see me at any of my shows. They're always on my social media. You want to find my new shirts? I got some Godzilla JAC shirts coming out like Friday. You can find that at my gimmick table at a show I'm at. So that gives you an excuse to come watch me wrestle so you can buy a shirt. And yeah, that's me. Come see me.
Yeah, JAC, this has been a blast. Thank you for sharing your story. I can't wait to, we're going to spill this, talk to you again when you get back from Japan.
Yes, sir.
I want to hear all of everything for the time that you're over there and just the experience, because 2 different crowds. I've never been to Japan. I want to know everything that you can tell me when you come back, brother.
I'm excited, buddy.
What's up, guys? This is Jared Fritz, official for the NWA, and you're getting Ref Fit with the Can Crushers podcast.
So I guess I have to apologize because I didn't know Al Snow's name in the interview. And, collar and elbow, hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool things that Al Snow and the Hooligans have down there. Use our promo code CANCRUSHERS to save 10%. Yeah, I forgot his name when JAC and I were talking. How do I do that? I don't know. You know the brain of Mark. It doesn't work. Jada Stone, first and foremost, if you're listening to this, I apologize. I apologize for stirring that pot a little bit. But guys, this was all about JAC, and what an amazing one human being. I love the openness and just the way he talks about the professional wrestling business and what it means to him. Business, friends, all of that. And if you haven't watched anything at JAC, God forbid, get out of the basement, turn it on, watch his stuff. He's going to Japan, 1, for a reason. 2, he will be a heavyweight champion, a world heavyweight champion, because I'm telling you, and just everything about him. I loved how open he was and just the stories that are out there with him. And I can't wait. Till he returns from Japan, because I'm so excited to talk to him, to hear the stories from over there, how his experience, what more he learned. Talk more probably about WrestleCade as well as we get a little bit closer to that when he comes back to Japan. Unbelievable interview. This is going to be by far one of my favorites of this year for sure. So, JAC, thank you once again for coming on. It meant a lot to get our schedules back on track and get everything going. I wish you nothing but the best. Kick ass, take names, be safe. All right, guys, this is it. This is the way that we end it. So remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called the garbage can, not a garbage cannot. Make sure you tell your loved ones you love them, because you never know.